Hello, my name is Corey Yarborough. I'm the Executive Director of the Hispanic Black Gay Coalition, here with another installment of HBGC's Mayoral Video Series. Today, I'm sitting down with Charles Clemons. Charles Clemons is a native of Roxbury, a self-made entrepreneur, and the co-founder of 106.1 FM, a radio station that deems itself the fabric of the Black community. I'm here to talk to him about a number of issues today, starting with the criminal justice system, especially given that he is a former Boston police officer and correctional officer, as well as senior issues, gender equity issues, HIV, education, and other things that are central to his platform. He says that he is here to build unity and to have unity to build strong communities, so I'm seeing where LGBT people of color fit into that. Mr. Clemons, thank you so much for coming to visit us and sit down with us.
My pleasure, Corey.
Great. So I want to just go ahead and hop into some questions to get to know you more and find out your vision for Boston.
Okay.
So going to your website, I was really impressed with just how succinct your reason for running for mayor is. And I just want to quote that and get your thoughts. So you say you are running for Boston simply to create a new Boston. So tell me more about what this vision of New Boston is and where you feel like Menino has kind of failed us to create a need for a new Boston.
Well, let's start off by saying that there's always room for improvement. Mm-hmm. I am not a career politician. However, I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I understand about struggle. I understand about listening to people. I'm in the people business, and it's time for us to start doing the right thing. What do I mean by that? One, quality schools in every neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And we do have some quality schools, but we don't have enough quality schools. Equal access for schools for all of our children, mm-hmm. because they are our children. Closing the achievement gap. It's a human and a civil right for our children who happen to be our future, Corey. Yeah. How can we have a bright future, a new future, when we've turned our back on our children? Mm-hmm. We need to invest in our children. We need to create jobs for our community. And how can that happen? Well, the Boston residency policy came about 30 years ago that simply says those construction jobs, those municipal jobs, 50% of the workforce should be Boston residents, mm-hmm. 25% people of color, 10% women. That's never been enforced. Mm-hmm. I will enforce. Mayor Clemons, the Clemons administration, mm-hmm. will enforce that law and hit folks with fines, with sanctions, those corporations. If you don't pay your fines on time, or your parking ticket, or your excise tax, you get hit with fines. Mm-hmm. So it needs to be an equal playing field for everybody. And I'm just saying that when I become mayor, as mayor of the city of Boston, those companies are going to be held accountable. There's $4.4 billion worth of construction going on, mm-hmm. in the city of Boston. Imagine if your organization just got 1% of it. It's a lot of money. Yeah. We've got folks that have been out of work for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So it's time to revamp the policy, and then understanding that the U.S. Census said in 2010 that people of color are now 54% of the population. So that 25% needs to be changed to 54%. The head of households in our community are women. So that 10% needs to be changed. I'm just talking about doing the right thing. And it's not rocket science to do the right thing. Just like you created your organization because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to listen to the people, listen to their cry, listen to their needs, and then act upon it. Yeah. You're an entrepreneur. So,
so tell me a little bit where you are now in terms of formulating policies for some of your positions, such as the one going back to jobs and entrepreneurship. Well, is there something tangible right now you can give us?
Absolutely. You don't want to let the cat out of the bag. However, as I stated about this Boston job residency policy, we only have 3 compliance officers. Those are the ones that go around and see what jobs are in compliance with the job residency policy, which is not happening. I mean, they're checking on the jobs, but they're not enforcing it. In Connecticut, they have less than 25% of the workforce, the jobs that are going on, but they have 15 compliance officers. We only have 3, and we have over 200 construction jobs. That doesn't make sense. So we're going to create jobs right there with the compliance officers, right there. And then, of course, we can't forget about our future, because we as a community has turned our back on our future, on our children. Sanctions put on those companies, take that money, and then reinvest it with our children, with our community, because everybody has different levels of skills. Reinvest it, create a job training center. Reinvest in Madison Park High, which is supposed to have been a model school. Mayor Menino said that at his State of the Union address 2.5 years ago. Right now, it has no headmaster. You could plug in something and get shocked. The books, they don't have books. They're making Xerox copy. I'm just saying, Corey, it's time for us to do the right thing. However, as mayor of the city of Boston, I want you to hold me accountable, but I'm gonna hold you accountable too, because you can't just complain and don't do anything about it. You have to complain, come up with a solution, and then we act on it. You're looking at the mayor who can't be bought. I refuse to take money from special interest groups or corporations. You're looking at a mayor who can speak truth to the perceived power. You're looking at a mayor that won't fake right and go left. You're looking at a mayor that embraces everybody, the human family, and we're all going to have this equal playing field. The police commissioner. It's time for a new police commissioner. The current police commissioner has done a good job, but there's room for improvement. Things have changed. So I've been investigating and vetting out folks to fill that position. When we come to the Boston Public Schools, we're going to have an elected school committee. It's time for us to have the people at the table. Students at the table, parents at the table, professors at the table. It doesn't matter. Concerned citizens.
So, yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think a huge chunk of this is just providing the resources and providing the things that we need to succeed or to set us up for success. And I think when going back to LGBT communities of color, I think that's part of it, but also part B is also creating the conditions where someone can walk in comfortably and unapologetically themselves to access those services. So I guess my question is, can you talk a little bit more specifically to homophobia and transphobia that exist in Boston?
We have to understand, a lot of people are afraid of change. We have to understand that Boston is truly a melting pot, and it's culturally sensitive. So Corey, I would need you at the table to inform me so that we can move Boston in the right direction. I don't know it all, and I'm not going to claim to know it all. And as they say, I don't have the answer for everything. However, there is an answer for everything. So when it comes to the lesbian, the gay, the Hispanic community, the transgender community, you need to be at the table. It's going to be an open door. So I need you to be there so that we can set these policies. We can make sure that there is no discrimination. There's no bullying. And whatever resources that you need, you're going to have to inform me of the resources that you need. You know, I'm a struggling black man. I love struggle. We're ordained for struggle. I understand that. However, you know, I need you at the table. I need your organization at the table. I need other organizations at the table. I welcome, like I said, the Clemons administration is going to be totally transparent. We need those training facilities, as I talked about earlier, whether it be for mechanics or for those that might be homophobic. They need to understand that we're all one. Our blood is red. Our blood, we're the human family.
When we talk about diversity a lot, you know, we talk about things like seniors, the LGBT community, different ethnic communities, but we rarely talk about gender and gender equity in Boston. So I would love to just hear your thoughts on what is the state from your perspective of gender equality in Boston. Is there room for improvement there?
Of course.
Again, what would you do?
There's always room for improvement everywhere. You have to, I wake up every morning and I look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, is there more I can do for my communities? The answer is yes. I have to sit down. We probably wouldn't even be sitting here today if I wasn't running for mayor. Now we have this relationship, and we're going to continue this relationship, and then you're going to tap me into other resources, other organizations that I would say that their message falls on deaf ears. Some people feel that, hey, you know, I'm all set. Everything's fine with me. I've got, you know, my manicured lawn. My children are off in college. I'm all set. It doesn't affect me, but it does. If you look at the communities as a village, as the Honorable Mel King does, he looks at it as a village. So what makes up the village? Everything makes up the village. Everybody makes up the village. So we have to have this diverse look at the way things are. It's not just black and white.
Yeah. Are there particular women's issues, since you said that it often falls on deaf ears, are there particular issues that you feel are important to women of color that you will prioritize?
Well, homelessness, domestic violence, of course. That's, you know, I mean, right now it's homelessness and domestic violence that I can look at right now. And of course, you know, whatever their preference is in life. You know, people get discriminated, and it's not right to no one should be discriminated. And if anybody knows about discrimination, I know about discrimination.
I'm glad you brought up domestic violence, because at HBGC we're actually involved in an interagency collaboration that's beautiful. Is involved about breaking down the taboo around partner abuse in LGBT, you know, Black and Latino communities. So what would you do to help break that taboo in our community? Or what other resources as far as domestic violence prevention?
I was just talking to a young lady at Rosie's place who was saying to me that, you know, when they go to the hospital, you know, they get treated funny because they're homeless. They don't have the right type of insurance. Well, we need to really look at how we handle people. We really need to understand, you know, what their conditions are and why they're in that condition. You have people, they didn't wake up and say, I'm going to be homeless today. You're looking at folks that say, why am I being discriminated against? What did I do to be discriminated against? Because of who I like, who I love? That's not right. Your personal preference is your personal preference. Again, as I said, we all bleed the same color blood, and we all come from one.
So let's get into something, topic I know you're very passionate about, which is the criminal justice system. As a former Boston police officer, correctional officer, I saw you most recently at the Trayvon Martin rally, where we had a lot of HBGC people speak at. Right. So I guess my first question is, earlier this year, HBGC had a summit, which was for formerly incarcerated LGBT people. And from this summit came a list of demands for policymakers. And so I just want to read off a few of these things on the list, and I just want to get your perspective on what you support, what you may not support. So I'll read off maybe about 6 of these. So LGBT inclusive healthcare in jails and prisons, decriminalizing sex work, eliminating quarries, insecure communities, the ICE initiative, funding for HIV programs in prison, and the elimination of zero tolerance policies in schools. What's your reaction to some of those?
Well, let's start off with Corey. I've started many successful businesses and hired thousands of Boston residents. 75% of them had quarries. I believe in giving people chances. You can't hold something against somebody forever. You know, there's something called forgiveness. You know, when folks go and they go to a correction facility, it is what it is. It's a correction facility. That's why inside those facilities, you have to have the resources so that when folks come out, men and women come out, when they come out, they can fit right back into society. But we have to be there to welcome them back in also. So it's as far as Corey's, I am for hiring people. I'm for treating people fairly. I'm for doing the right thing, Corey.
So you would have formerly incarcerated people in your administration?
Absolutely.
Great.
Why not?
Yeah. Cool. Anything else on this list?
If you go through the list one more time,
sure.
because
so we have LGBT inclusive healthcare in jails, which also
it's needed.
HIV prevention.
Everybody deserves quality health care. Just because someone is tall, gay, doesn't mean you don't give them proper health care. It's not right. It's a human and civil right to have proper health care. For HIVs, absolutely. Why not? It's the right thing to do. And as I said earlier, Corey, it's about doing the right thing. I'm not worried about the perceived power. I'm not worried about that, because there's only one power that I listen to, whether you call Allah, Jah, Jehovah, Most High, Supreme Being, Holy Spirit, Buddha, whatever name you want to use, universe. It's about doing the right thing, Corey. Some more of that list.
Decriminalizing sex work. This is, I'm loving having conversations with the candidates about this. So any thoughts on that?
Do the right thing. It's real simple.
Would you be in favor of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I in the beginning, Corey, I talked about we're humans. Zero tolerance when it comes to discrimination. You have to understand, you know, the cultural culture of the city of Boston, of the United States, of the world.
And I think,
I'm sorry. How can we be a world-class city if we don't do the right thing? How is it possible? We have a chance, Corey. This is a historic year. We have a chance to send a message across America by electing a mayor who is culturally sensitive, a mayor who doesn't think he knows it all, a mayor who's open, a mayor who's totally transparent, a mayor who's going to bring everyone to the table. I am that mayor, Mayor Charles Clemons, and the Clemons administration will do that.
I love your theme of doing the right thing. And I think, you know, when we talk a lot about a lot of these serious issues, part of it is doing the right thing, and part of it is, you know, creating the policies and the changes on the books that we need. But another huge piece is just the cultural stigma around these things. So, for example, decriminalizing sex work, working with formerly incarcerated people, working with LGBT people, all deal with heavy, heavy stigmas in our community. So as mayor, how can you help with that, fight that stigma?
We have to have sensitive training in the workforce. In the organizations, the neighborhood task force, you know, everybody. See, we can't just pick this group here and teach them. It's almost like the quality schools. There's not enough quality schools in every neighborhood, but you have quality schools over here and quality schools over here. How come we can't put them over here? All you do is take the model and bring it over. You know, the children, let me go back to the schools too, because it's the same thing. They have to be inspired. Organizations have to be inspired to want to help, to work with everybody. So you have to show them that we're all one. We're truly one Boston. Right now, we are not one Boston. We're fragmented.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit.
Let's keep that real.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because a question I've asked a candidate as well that I think is very interesting is how would you describe the current race relations in Boston between different ethnicities and races? So
let's look at it. Since the Boston Boston marathon bombing. In the city of Boston, there's been, I think, between 94 and 97 shootings since that day. There's a problem right there. That's a problem. Now, we, Boston 1, worked with the federal government, worked with the state, worked with local to get the alleged suspects, right? Apprehend them. They shut down a city. The resources are there.
Exactly. So what will you do as mayor to make sure those same resources are invested in black and Latino communities who experience that violence every single day?
Strengthening the relationships with federal, local, and state, bringing the organizations to the table so that we can hear and then act. Again, it's not rocket science to do the right thing. Yeah. You know, for 20 years, for 20 plus years, I watched how they removed civics out of the Boston public schools, how they removed Black history out of the Boston public schools. How can an individual really respect the individual if they don't know their history, if they don't know their background? That's where you come in. And with the Clemons administration, your organization, we're going to make an awareness to the communities. We have to do that. But you got to want it. You can't just talk it, because I'm going to be about it. And when I look around, I want to see you on my right, I want to see you on my left, and I want to see you in back of me, because we're going to do this together. And that's the only way we're going to change the racism, the discrimination that's going on in our community.
So before I get to my lightning round, which is just some quick questions, I close with all my candidates with, I want to go back to HIV prevention. And I guess a little bit beyond, or I guess to deepen HIV prevention and talk about HIV care, because we talk about prevention a lot, but caring for HIV positive people and making sure they have the resources they need is a form of prevention that I want to bring into this conversation as well. So, you know, what will you do as mayor to make sure poor, marginalized, HIV positive people can access care and community to be healthy and successful in life?
Can we just look at the word care? I'm going to care.
Okay.
You have to care. But along with care, you have to love. You know, again, as I said in the beginning, my brothers and sisters' problems are my problems, and we solve those problems together. All you have to do is come to the table with the Clemons administration. You bring your thoughts, your ideas, and we make it happen. Healthcare, the resources are there. Some of it needs to be revamped because obviously there are folks that are suffering. You know, we have the haves and the have-nots, the served and the underserved. It's time to equal the playing field, Corey. It's really time to do that. And it can happen. However, I can't do it by myself. I need the community to want it. You have to believe that there's going to be change and there's not going to be any more broken promises.
So now I want to hit my lightning round, and then we can close with any final comments you want to say. But my lightning round is basically 4 questions, and I just want you to finish the sentence in 4 or 5 words, if you could.
It's a pop quiz.
So let's get this going. So the first one is, a more just and equal Boston requires?
Real justice. Justice under the law, justice applied equally to all, no matter of your class, creed, color, gender. Okay, that was 20 words, but good. I wasn't supposed to do 20 words?
Just 4 or 5. No, that's fine. I'm messing with you. Oh, I'm messing with you. But 4 or 5 words moving forward. I think
5 words.
And I think that's the hardest one to do in 4 or 5 words. So the second one is a personal hero of mine is
the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more on that one. See, now I want to know more. So tell me a little bit more about why he's your personal hero.
Because when my mother was, she got divorced. while I was 10, and I'm the oldest of 5 children. So there was no man in the house. And my mother was introduced to the Nation of Islam in the early 70s, late 60s. And in the Nation of Islam, the men protected the women. And I didn't have a father figure. And I saw how the men protected the women, respected the women. Mm-hmm. And that was because of the Nation of Islam. And it taught me at a young age to do for self.
Great. To
love myself, to love thy neighbor, to make friendships in all walks of life.
Okay. Third question is, an area as a leader I'm looking to improve in is?
Being humble.
And then my last one is, to the Black and Latino LGBT community, I pledge.
To have an open door policy, bring you to the table, be totally transparent. I know I'm only supposed to have a few words, and to love you more.
So thank you again. And is there anything as we close that you want to say to me or to our supporters out there?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. And to your supporters, I'll say that you're looking at a mayor who can't be bought, a mayor who can speak truth to the perceived power, a mayor that's for the people, a mayor who cares, who doesn't know everything, and welcomes ideas, talented ideas, new ideas, young people to the table, gay, lesbian, transgender, old, young. It doesn't matter. Just come and be a part of this movement. I love you. Charles Clemons for mayor. I'm #1 on the ballot.
And your website?
It's charlesforboston.com. That's charlesforboston.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and you can call me. I'll give you my personal number, 617-334-4639. That's 617-334-4639. I will be a touchable, a reachable mayor.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.